Yeah, who goes first?
This is going to be a really casual conversation. Hey, Megan, we can see you. I don't know why we see your beautiful face as the speaker, but we love you. Hi, Megan. We'll see what we can do there. Anyway, for my team, we have 2 teams joining. We're so thankful that both of you guys are joining. This is kind of an epic call. It's actually the launch of our renewed team call. So you're it.
Oh,
you're the epic launch.
So this isn't something you do all the time.
This just started. Yeah,
wow.
We used to. But Seth Risenmay, for those of you on my team, he's a legend. And Seth, I don't think you get enough credit for how much amazingness you brought into all of our lives. So I get a lot of credit for being the first class, the essential oil class, but Seth was actually the writer and the developer of that class, and he sat down and actually taught me what to say and when to say it. Do you know this? You remember this? You remember that? I know it was a long time ago, but I do want to just give you credit for that. Seth is a Blue Diamond, massive. If you watched Pipelines, that's all over our doTERRA pamphlets. That was you. So I'm just glad that you're here so we can pick your brains about oil and also the business.
Okay, as long as I get to ask you questions as well.
Yes, right. We are.
Okay, everybody on
this
that,
is like a real conversation.
Call, yeah. I want to hear from you.
Awesome.
For
yeah.
Sure. So.
Definitely.
Cool. I'm glad. It's been pretty amazing to see because like we kind of got started at the same time.
Right. Bootstrapping.
And then you kicked my butt.
Not really.
From that point on.
No, I didn't. You rose. You rose as well. It was fun. It was fun to watch each other and keep tabs.
Yeah.
How are things going?
Yeah.
And you're all over the place. You're in Brazil. You're.
Yeah. I try to go. As far as international stuff goes, like I know it kind of sounds funny, but for me, I just go. You know what? I always wanted to go to Brazil, and I want Brazil to be a part of my life for the rest of my life, and so that's how I kind of make up my mind. Like same with Italy and other places. I just go. I think I want that country to be a part of my life for the rest of my life, and then I just commit to it.
Isn't it amazing that you can create your life around where you want to be and who you want to spend time with? Okay, so while we're at it, I promised our people watching that I would ask a few oil questions and pick your brain, because a lot of people think, oh, oils are for moms and kids. But that's not the case. And I remember you told me your first essential oil experience was with balance.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That very first time I met Natalie Goddard, very first time. She came up to me and she had some balance on her finger. She just wiped it under my nose. Like, this is the first meeting, right? So I'm like, what are you doing? And she just goes like this, and I'm like, hey, and I'm like, whoa. And I, like when it finally hit me, I was like, holy cow. And I was kind of processing, like, what is that? And then Natalie starts talking to me, and she notices that I'm like in this state of, wow. And she goes, are you having a moment?
Are you having a moment with balance?
Right. And I was just like, yeah, I guess I am. What is this?
Do you still use a lot of balance?
Yeah, not as much now. I use some other stuff more, but I do use balance.
So what are your top 5?
Wild orange for me. It's just always, I love wild orange. Lime. I like citrus oils, but Immortelle. And I know this is gonna sound weird, but like it's because I like to read, and when my eyesight I'm hitting my 40s, and so my eyesight starts going, and if I keep Immortelle around my eyes like every night, then I don't have problems seeing. If I neglect that, then I start feeling like I need glasses.
Really?
Yeah, so as long as I keep Immortelle and I don't need glasses, that's how I've done.
That's pretty amazing. I actually have had, oh, I can't talk this time. Now I need to drink water, but I've had several people tell me that Immortelle's eyesight has been great.
Yeah, for me it's been, because like it just makes it so that everything's crystal clear, and without it, my eyes get tired faster. And then the other thing is you can probably tell, I don't know if you guys can see this, but like I have scars all over my body, and this is something that happened about 2 years ago. They started to manifest, and then about a year ago it was horrendous. And
really?
Yeah, I was like a leper, pretty much. In fact, I have some pictures I can show you. It's pretty bad. And so I was going around the world, and I looked like a leper, telling people about health and wellness. So I just covered up with long sleeves. Thankfully, it never hit my face. But But anyway, but it did got inside my mouth, my nose.
You know what it was?
Yeah. It took a lot of doctor visits from different doctors. All the Western medicine doctors just said autoimmune, which is kind of code for saying we don't know what it is. And then, so I went to some different naturopaths, and one of them said it was a parasite. And every time I tested with them, it was parasite driven. And I think because I just travel all over the world, I probably like picked up something. And so when you say like, what's my favorite oil? I can't say an oil, but I can say the anti-infectious disease protocol with about 10 different oils. That changed my life completely because I was living in hell for about a year and a half.
What are those? I've never heard of that protocol. Is that Boyerman or that's a Boyerman?
So you do, you start with frankincense, and then you go oregano, thyme, on guard, melaleuca, lemongrass, aroma touch, arbor vitae, or melissa, peppermint.
And it's the spine. So you're putting it on the spine.
Spine and feet.
And feet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you do that 2 or 3 times a week for about 2 months. And then it'll start, and that's when I had relief, and then I just do like a little bit of maintenance, twice a month, something like that.
Well, I actually grabbed this oil, the On Guard, but the On Guard capsules.
On Guard's one of the oils too.
And you're doing On Guard.
Should I mention that? Those On Guard, it still goes oregano, thyme, On Guard, melaleuca, lemongrass.
Wow, I'm glad you're doing better. I had no idea. I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, like I'd wake up every morning and my sheets would be covered in blood. Terrible.
Wow.
So the sad thing was that when I tried Western medicine, they gave me some pills because, again, they think it's autoimmune. So they're trying to suppress my immune system, which I knew was a horrible idea. And so I took that, and it just made it
worse.
5 times worse. And I'm like, well, screw that. And so, but the thing was interesting is that I feel like I've known for a long time how to use essential oils, but just out of desperation for my own health, I was going and looking for people who knew, like Boyd Truman. And when I went to his training, I was like, wow, now I feel like for the first time I actually know how to use oils. Like before, how I was using them was good, but I didn't feel like a healer necessarily. I felt like I knew how to use oils. Now it's like, frankly, we just weren't using enough oil. We weren't using it often enough, and we weren't using it in the right way.
Wow.
So,
and that putting in a plug-in for Boyd Truman, he does that amazing Symphony of the Cells, and he does it several times a year, right?
Yeah.
But I haven't gone, but I've known a lot of people that have, and I've been able to experience some of the protocols. So
yeah,
incredible.
Yeah, like amazing. And the thing I love about it too is that it's so simple, really easy.
Hey Megan, I'm gonna just put a little shout out to my assistant that for some reason your screen's still showing up, but hopefully you can see Seth because he's incredible. Anyway, well that's exciting, really. Oh, there we are. Okay, hi everybody. Thanks, Megan. And this is my oil this week because we're traveling. It was spring break. I was in Colorado and we were at a gymnastics meet. My little 18-month-old was on the ground licking whatever her hands, and of course came home with stomach flu and was sleeping all night long. And I was using Digestin, and I had Manuka oil as well. And then as soon as I started, actually just broke a capsule open and started putting this in the bottom of her feet, and did it twice. And after that, no more peakage. So that was cool. Infectious, lovely stuff. As compliant as we can be. But anyway. Anyway, well, we can switch gears and talk about fun stuff of building a doTERRA business.
Let's do it.
Where do you want to start?
So, can I ask questions?
Yes.
All right. So, in your presidential diamond, right? Mm-hmm. You have an enormous team. So my question is that we were talking about this earlier, and you were kind of mentioning some things I thought would be good, and that is, what are the things that are stopping people from moving forward from wherever they are in their business? I don't even know that it really matters if they're just getting started or if they're a diamond or above. Like, what stops people from moving forward that you've seen?
It's interesting because I actually just interviewed I think I had 63 people fill out a survey yesterday, this past week. And I actually asked them, what are the main obstacles that are standing in the way of moving forward in your business and hitting the ranks that you want? And they gave answers such as mom guilt, time management, I can attract leaders, and all of these different things. And I talked to them yesterday, and I brought on Gina Jordan, who's an amazing diamond. And as we dissected those things, it came down to all of these are just actually excuses. Yeah. And as you think about that, you have to think about the price of that excuse and is it serving you? And I've learned a couple of things. There's a couple of mantras that run through my brain. One came from Kirk Duncan. It says, for things to change, I must change. For things to get better, I must get better. And the other one is, whenever I want to up level, it's going to require an up leveled version of me. So if I want things to shift in my business, I have to shift. And Marie Forleo says everything is figure outable. So the time management thing, it's figure outable. The lack of money, it's figure outable. The capacity to travel and support teams, it's all figure outable. It's really about my imagination and my ability to see clearly where I'm going and what I really want, and then how to figure out the how rather than getting stuck at the wall. And so even going presidential diamond, I'll tell you something that was interesting the month I went presidential diamond, and I Facebook Lived every day to my team what I was doing. And what was happening though is I had used oils too much, and so I was having some skin sensitivities that I needed to scale back, because I'm teaching classes, and so I had to scale back, and I thought, this is the month I'm supposed to go presidential diamond. How do I do it without teaching 100 classes and putting oils on people? I don't know how to do it. Well, a mentor of mine said, well, Kalli, you can think of it that way, or you could think of it some differently. What if this is actually a gift to you, and it's a gift of leadership? And why don't you just stay where you are and lead and teach people how to lead themselves? And so that entire month, I didn't teach classes. I didn't sample products. I hustled as much as I could, but it was more of an experience of me leading those platinums, mostly on the phone, and believing in them and helping them actually work things out. So I could have just said, fine, I can't go rank, I can't do it, I'm gonna sit in a hole and cry, but I think I wanted to up level. And so no matter the obstacle, you have to figure out how to navigate around it.
Well, the thing about excuses is that they're so compelling that we believe them. And for the most part, they're just kind of fake. Like they're really compelling though, so it's hard for us to even believe that. But
they can be a reality, but we have to choose.
Yeah, but it's like how you perceive that, if you're perceiving it. So I'm curious. So when you started in doTERRA, how many children did you have?
I had 3. They were all young.
And how many do you have now? 5. Okay. How old were your kids when you started?
My oldest was about 12, 10. Okay. No, he wasn't even that old. He was young. So I had a 1.5-year-old, and then I think the other one was about 3 or 4, and the other one was probably 5 or 6. So they were young, sorry.
And how fast did you go diamond?
We went diamond in about 1.5 years.
Wow. Okay. And so, so how did you do that? Like, did you have mom guilt?
I had a lot. I had a lot of craziness happening to me, and a lot of excuses I could have bought into.
Yeah.
However, I was also in a boat that was sinking, I say. So the option of making this work wasn't, whether or not this was going to fly wasn't an option. It was either do or die for us. And I think it was to our advantage. So when people ask, well, what, they look at me now and they think, oh, it was always easy for you. You don't understand what I've been through. And that's really just not the case. So quick backstory of my story is John and I started at a time when we were at our bottom. My husband was diagnosed with an autoimmune, so he was struggling. We had already launched a business tuning pianos and rebuilding Steinways, obviously something I can't do, that was his business. And so when he got the autoimmune, it really put us out for a while. He did rebound through natural means of changing his diet and meditation, intermittent fasting. He came out of that. And we were expanding our business, and then he got into a car accident, and then he was out. So we were now in a position of not only losing our business, but losing our home. And I was trying to figure out what bills to pay, which bills not to pay, and creditors were calling all day long. And he came to me and said, we're losing it all, and I can't work, and it's your turn to support the family. And all of a sudden, this heaviness fell upon my shoulders. And I did the only thing that I really knew how to do in that position, and I just got on my knees and prayed. I had a degree, but it was in international development, and I was going to work for charity for $10 an hour, and it's not going to fly when you're trying to support a family. So I really was thinking in my mind of, I had some things figured out. I knew in my mind that there were people that were making income differently than most people. I knew that people were creating residual income. So that was already on my radar. I thought, okay, if I have to leave, I wanted to leave and make money that will continue to pay me forever.
Right. So if you have to leave your family,
Yeah.
your kids, if you have to give up that role.
Right.
then
Yeah,
it has
because
to be worth it.
I wanted to raise my kids. And so I thought, well, if I have to leave, I don't want to work for a 9 to 5 where I have to keep working. I want to find a business that's going to allow me to create residual income. So that was already in my radar. Secondly, there was this emptiness that I felt deep in my soul. And it was this disconnect to, you say the words, that higher callings in life. And I felt that disconnect. I felt like I was playing too small in the world. I mean, I was giving my all to my marriage and to my husband's business and to my kids, but I felt like there are people out there that I'm supposed to serve, and there's other things that I'm supposed to do, and I just don't know what that looks like. And so that was my plea and my prayer. And so my business shifted.
You felt like your circle of influence was too small. It was like you could influence the world.
I felt that in my core. Like there's a place for me to play big, and I love leadership transformation. That is my favorite thing in doTERRA. I love being able to help people to progress. I love helping people to heal on multiple levels of their life, right? Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, socially, financially. Nothing gets me going like that. I just love that. And I think with the same souls. And so I just didn't know what that would look like, but that was my petition. And so when doTERRA came along, about 4 months later, actually, a friend of mine said, you should look at this. I thought, no way. I'm not signing up for essential oils or network marketing. That's not necessarily what I'm looking for per se, even though I had looked at network marketing a little bit before. But something about doTERRA just kind of kept ringing in my ear, and I just kept listening. And so when I actually looked at doTERRA, the whole package, I honestly couldn't believe how good it was.
Yeah.
I just went, wow, like, is that from a business standpoint? I was looking for unique products. I was looking for powerful partnerships. I was looking at market trends. I was looking at compensation. And the last thing I was looking for was global impact. And doTERRA was like 5 stars in all these categories. And I was blown away to tears at my first convention, thinking, are you kidding me? Like, this is the most beautiful package. And I can play. I'm a young mom, but I can play. And I can make the income of a heart surgeon, but it's residual, it's better, if I stick with it. And so, failure was never an option. It was always how. Every obstacle came, and I thought, all right, it's just an obstacle. How do I navigate around it? How do I do this again?
Right, and I think that's a big deal when people stop questioning if this is the path, but how this is the path. Like, if you're in there going, okay, I think this is going to work, and maybe it will, but if it doesn't, and if you have all these like exits along the way.
Commitment is the biggest thing. It dictates your thoughts, it dictates your emotions, it dictates your actions, right? But if you're fickle and you're not really committed to your destination, you don't get to see the miracles of progress.
Yeah, the other thing is that you also, like you were mentioning, like one of the main things that people always bring up is I can't find builders. And it's like, if you knew that it's as simple as totally committing. Yes. Because if you are absolutely committed, then the people you're talking to sense that. It's maybe energetic.
It's like calling and saying, I might be going to Disneyland, I don't really know, but maybe you want to come? I mean, versus a person that's like, I'm going to Disneyland this day, you want to come? Like, it's a completely different energy. And you talk about this. You're amazing at this. I want to ask you a question. Tell me about the 4 decisions, because you told my friend Emily Pfeiffer about the 4 decisions. Like, you don't just make a decision once, although I kind of did. Yeah. Most people have to make it 4 times.
This came as a result of, like, I just kept telling people, like, diamond is a decision. It's a decision. And they'd be like, but I've decided, and we're like, okay. And then I was doing a mastermind call. And I was asking them, like, when did you make the decision? I was asking these different diamonds. They're like, well, which decision? And then the more we dissected it, the more we realized there are actually 4 decisions that always seem to come up. And the The first one is the decision to get started. And it's when someone decides, I'm going to do this. And they don't know what they're getting into. It's really an ignorant decision. They think it's
like
gonna,
marriage.
Yeah.
You're like, wait a second.
Well, I signed up for this? Yeah, so.
Sorry. We love you,
Marriage,
John.
yes. Yes, so.
He said that about me too.
Hey,
I thought it was going to be easier with you.
good.
What happened? I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so it's like you make this decision because you envision it being a certain way, right? And then you find out it's not that way. Or you think, okay, I'm going to do it, especially if these people say yes. And then those people don't say yes. Or whatever it is that you thought it would be. And then that comes to decision number 2, which is the eyes wide open decision. That's the decision to keep going. That you kind of go, okay, I get it. It's not what I thought it would be. It actually looks like this. And despite the fact that it's different than I thought, I still choose in. I'm still going forward with this. And so that's decision number 2. Decision number 3 is very personal and it's different for everybody. And frankly, I'm still making decision number 3 all the time. And that's the decision to let go. And what you let go of the answer is whatever's holding you back. What is the excuse?
Yeah.
Like the mom guilt. That's a big one. But like for you, see, when you're describing your story, that was already made. When you made the decision, your life circumstances had come to you.
I was fighting for my family.
Right. So there wasn't any of this like trying moral justifications of things. You're like, no.
I have to feed my family,
and my husband can't right now because of his situation. And it's just like, so you had an amazing advantage in that your circumstances blew past some of the decisions that hold so many people back. Think about the amount of people on your team who cannot let go of things that have been holding them back for years, and they won't let go of it. But for me, it was letting go of something good for something better. I had a software company before I started doTERRA. And I remember like at one point I was fighting for this company and I wanted to have the best of both worlds. And then it just dawned on me. It's like, you can continue to fight for this or you can fight for your future here. And I let go of it. I just let go. And it's kind of a long story, but like I had a bunch of attorneys because I had some business partners that had taken the company. They'd done some illegal things. And so all these attorneys were like, hey, if you do this and this, then we'll take your case on. We'll do your case for free because we know we're going to win and we're going to all this different things. And I mean, I'm lawyered up to the hilt, and I'm like looking at, they're telling me to go back and document every step along the way for the last 2 years. And then the thought came to me, I could spend the next 2 years fighting over my past, or I could embrace my future. And I let it go. I never forget like calling the attorneys and saying, I'm done. I'm not going to do this. And they're like, but you're going to lose your company. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm letting go. And I just let go of all that. And it was one of the most liberating things. But then it keeps happening. Like you have to let go of fear. You have to let go of the opinion of the person next door and what they think of you. You have to let go of what you think is the ideal life, or the way it should be, or all these different things that just hold us back. And it's like, let go of that crap. It's not serving you. Just embrace what is. And, another thing I did is at some point I let go of a job. I had a different business, and that was keeping me afloat while I was building my doTERRA business at the same time. And the minute that it got to a certain point, I was letting go of anything that was a distraction. So the second that I could, I just let it go. I'm like, the moment doTERRA started making enough money for me that I could let go of other things, I did. And so it's just letting go of anything that's holding you back. And letting go of excuses is a huge deal. So that's decision number 3, decision to let go. And then the decision number 4 is the decision to go big. And it's like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it big. I remember when I started, it was like, I'm going to do it so I can just take care of me and my family. And then there comes a moment where you're like, no, there's more in me.
Just about,
it isn't just,
it's not just about, my family.
it isn't just about you.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was just like when you decide, okay, not only am I going to do this, but I'm going to do this to the full extent of my capacity. And why? Because these are the gifts that God has given me, and I'm going to magnify those gifts.
There's so many amazing things that you said in all of that, and I kind of want to attach oils to everything that you said, because we have this amazing tool, right? And we have access to so many amazing mentors to actually help us move through these things. And as I was thinking about your story of letting go of something good for something better, I thought about cypress, because cypress is the oil that helps us to get into the flow of our life. And that is exactly what happened with my husband as well, because he was still holding on to his business. And there were some legal battles as well. And we were still fighting to own our house. And I sat him down and I said, we have two choices. We either hold on to our past or we get into the flow of our life.
Wow.
And in that moment, I said, so what is the flow of our life right now? And we had a choice to either go from gold to diamond and move to Georgia, or actually diamond to blue. But we had to leave our house. And that was really hard. It was hard on our pride. It was hard for him to let go of his business that he built for so many years. But looking back, it was probably obviously the best decision. And there, for those of you who are struggling with decision making, and I think that for me, I struggle with that. Sometimes I struggle with the commitment. I feel really good about it, and then I hit that resistance, and I'm like, that probably was a bad idea. I'm just going to revert back to my hole, right, where I'm comfortable. I learned a really cool technique for making better decisions, and I call it. Are you ready?
Yeah.
I call it energetic calibrating.
All right.
And it's kind of fun. And if you watch Marie Kondo, right, she's all the rave on Netflix. She teaches everybody how to organize and get rid of stuff by holding it to your chest and asking if it sparks joy. Are you a Marie Kondo fan? Raise your hand if you're into it. It's really cool. But what she's teaching people to do is to choose to let go based on how it's affecting you. So she's like, you don't need all this junk. Like, it could have served you in the moment that it was given to you, but now you're just holding on to it because you feel guilty giving it away because your great grandmother gave it to you, right? Whatever it is, right? So she makes you basically go through everything in your house, hold it up to your chest, every item, and say, does this spark joy? And she has you close your eyes, and if it doesn't, you send it off with love. You give it to Vidya, you throw it away. So I did this, and I got rid of like 65 bags of clothes and junk. It was crazy. It was good because we were moving anyway, but it was great. However, what I want to teach right now is the principle of applying this to your life. So as you're building that business in the moment, it probably was an 8, 9, 10 for you. But it got to the point where another 10 came into your life, and you realized this is no longer the 8, 9, 10. This is now the 5, 6. And I have two choices, but I can't have both. And I can either let go of this one and make room for this one, or I can keep this one and hold it because I fear about it. Does that make sense? But if I choose this, it does come with a price. Everything comes with a price. And so I try my hardest as I'm making decisions, even to work with people, to drop into that heart space, to close my eyes and just ask, even in a prayer, where does this calibrate? So calibration 10 for me is, I think of the most glorious sunrise I've ever seen in my entire life. And I grew up in Hawaii, so I'm sitting on the beach, and it's glorious. And my heart is expanding and soaring, and that is a 10. And then I think of what is a 0. Do you have a 0? You think of a place that's like,
yeah.
What is it? What's your 0?
Well, just in this very moment, as I've never thought about that, I was thinking of some of the slums.
That's a 0, right? Yeah. Like, no joy. I do not want to be there. I want to jet out of it. And so that's my 0. And so I just imagine a grid, and there's a 0 and a 10, and you can do this with your higher power. It's kind of cool if you do, but I just ask, how appropriate is it for me to proceed? With this opportunity, with this builder, with whatever it is, and I just kind of wait for that to settle.
You calibrate somewhere in between.
Mm-hmm. And it'll calibrate. Like, if you close your eyes,
feel it. You feel it like settle in there.
Yes, absolutely.
And then what?
If it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm like, like, won't even touch it.
Yeah.
I can't afford to touch it. But if it's a 6, 7, I kind of wait on it. I'm like, it's good, but not good enough. But if it's an 8, 9, or 10, I'm moving forward. Absolutely. So I just did this actually recently. I was sitting at leadership and Ange Peters gets up and she talks about leading from the front line. And she puts on her first slide is a big picture of a lion. I don't know if you were there for that. So you guys, I was kind of freaking out a little bit because I'm a Leo, not that, whatever. July baby, I'm a Leo. And I actually have been a little chicken this year. I got 5 kids. My husband's building a house. I don't have time to bring on anyone. I can't lead doTERRA, so I'm totally just in management mode all year, right? I probably had maybe 4 enrollments. Right? Bad. So, but I'm totally overwhelmed with my life. And I'm in management mode, supporting my teams. I got my cool assistants helping me. And I'm sitting there, and right before I go to leadership, I decide to revamp my vision board, and I stick a big picture of a lion on it. I'm like, Kalli, you're a lion, right? That is my spirit animal. I'm like, lead, be the Leo. So I'm looking at it every day, and this lion is looking back at me and saying, be bold. Stop being chicken. Start taking inspired execution. You've gotten inspiration on what you need to do in your relationships, in your life, in your business. But you're not executing. You're not going the distance on a lot of things. I was kind of, right, playing really, really small. And my excuses were ramped up. I'm like, I can't travel. I can't. I mean, they were ramped up. And I really was liking them because it kept me comfortable. So I'm sitting at leadership, and here comes Ange Peters with her lion, and I'm like, oh no. And it was lead from the front, and this burst of energy just went to my heart and was like, lead from the front, stop it, wake up and lead from the front. And so that was my moment, and I had this thought, what if we could create 100 diamonds on the team? And again, as I sat on that and I energetically calibrated, as corny as that sounds, I was like, wow, that's a 9-10. So what would happen if I got myself to a 10 again? What would happen if I cleared out my junk, let go of stuff, made room to actually lead from the front? What would happen to me? First, I would feel better about me because I'm eating better and I'm exercising. I signed up for a triathlon because I'm turning 40. I'm 40. I'm like, crap, I gotta start doing stuff. And then I started to think about what that would be for my kids. What would that mean for my kids if I got out of my excuses and started to lead my family from the front, right? Being really deliberate about
living life on purpose.
Living life on purpose.
Yeah.
All those things. And what would that look like if I started being a 10? What would that mean for my leaders? If I started showing up as a 10 for my front line and vice versa, and everything started to shift and change. And I got some really great advice that I'll give to you right now. Get out your phone, pick your 3 words, and I picked 3 words. This is from Brendan Richard, awesome mentor. He said, get out your phone, pick your 3 words that are going to help you anchor yourself into your next chapter. Put it on an alarm, and then throughout the day, have those 3 words come up as reminders.
It just comes up as a reminder on your phone.
You set it as an alarm.
And you need 3 words. What are your words?
Confident, inspiring, supported.
Okay, so why did you choose those words?
One is because I was being chicken. I was getting inspiration and I was not following through. And so I didn't want to second guess myself anymore. Confidence was make a decision, move. Stop going back. Inspiring or inspired to me is, for me, it's really important that I'm doing everything, I call it in alignment with love, in alignment with the highest version of myself, right? Spiritually speaking, alignment with my creator. So that's a pure build. Because if it's not, if I'm manipulative or if I am, right, forcing things, it never feels great. And at the end of the day, I feel like I lost the reward. doTERRA can be a very rich build from beginning to end if you do it in alignment, because abundance is showing up not just financially. It's showing up in all ways, quality relationships, miracle moments, power mentoring sessions that just blow your mind and change you forever. There are things that happen along the journey if you keep it pure. And then supported is because I think there is a false belief that we believe that sometimes we're in it alone. I'm alone. I'm not enough. I don't have what I need. I don't have money. I don't have all of those things. And I just said, you know what? I am supported. Like, why do I want to create that story that I'm not? And so that's how I wanted to feel is I have a team that's backing this. I have help all around me. Help builders are showing up all the time to move this movement forward. But again, it starts with a vision, then it leads to confidence. Am I going to see it to completion? I'm going to keep the journey pure, and then I trust that it will be supported.
So during the day at 10 a.m.
10 a.m.
Your phone pops up and it's like confident.
Yeah, it's like confident supported or confident inspired supported.
Okay, so all three of them are showing.
Yep. So you just put it as a memo, and I have it coming on at 10 o'clock and at 2 o'clock.
And how's it working?
Well, it's a good reminder. And check it out. Can you see that? Oh, you can't see it. I've got my lion. I was shocked. It keeps. I'm thinking that this is going to be a cool moment, and then it doesn't happen. Okay, so I have my image of my lion here, right?
Yeah.
Fierce, right?
Yeah.
So every time I pick up my phone, like staring at me, like you're not backing down and moving forward.
Great too, because we always are looking at our phone.
Yeah.
It's always so this mess on our minds all the time.
Right? So every time it's like, hi, I should name her. Him. I should name him. He's right there looking at me, urging me to move. Yeah.
Love it.
So let's talk about you. What's on your vision board?
So I have one thing. One. It's a emblem I made, a logo, and it's a diamond with an M in the middle of it, and M is a Roman numeral for 1,000, and it's Michael created 1,000 diamonds on my team.
1,000? Oh, you're just taking it up. You're showing me up. 1,000 diamonds.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that again. So like when we were talking about the 4 decisions of going big, like I remember when at certain stages of my business, I thought that going big was diamond, and then I thought it was a rank, and then and then you start to realize it's like your comprehension of big is just getting started. And I think that if you open yourself up to, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but for me it was. So I retired for about 2 years in doTERRA, and what I mean when I say retired, I mean I probably worked 5 hours a week on my business, did some calls and stuff. Before doTERRA, I've been an entrepreneur for my whole life, in my whole adult life. And so I'd run companies forever, and the stress of just running businesses and all of that was just crushing me. So when I set the goal to be Blue Diamond, I was like, I want to be Blue Diamond because I want to get to at least 40 grand a month. And then when I get there, I'm going to retire and just rest. And I wanted a mini retirement, and I took it, and it was amazing. It was the greatest thing ever. And but during that time of retirement, you were actually a part of this journey. But in the middle of that, I was looking for something to give, like my greater cause and higher purpose. Right? So I'm like, well, what is my purpose? And when you kind of remove the need for money, you start to look for reasons to exist. And for so long, I was a provider, and then that was done. And so I was like, well, what am I going to give my life to? And I had a buddy of mine that used to work for me years back, and he just called me out of the blue, and he said, Seth, have you ever heard of an organization called Operation Underground Railroad? And I was like, no, and he told me about it, and I was just like, oh. I mean, when I went to the website, I watched the video, and I just cried. I was just like, the thought of children being caught in that was more than I could handle. And so my intent, honestly, was I'm going to just put my doTERRA business on the side. I'm going to focus my life here. That's what I'm going to do. Well, then 2.5 years ago, I'm sitting in convention, and doTERRA announces a partnership with Healing Hands and Operation Underground Railroad. And in that moment, I was just shocked. It was just like one of those moments where I was like, whoa. And my greater cause and higher purpose and my business became in total alignment. And to speak really bluntly, without speaking around it, God spoke to me, and I was just sitting there, and the way that I normally receive messages from my father is I just get crystal clear, pure thought that kind of comes out of nowhere. It enters my mind, and I'm like, huh? And it's so pure that you can almost hear it. I'm still wondering if I'm hearing it or if it's just so clear that my spiritual ears hear it. I don't know. Anyway, so I was sitting in this meeting, and the message came to me and said, Seth, you could do so much more. And at first I was like, oh my gosh, more, I want to do more. Mm-hmm. And then, and that it just never ended. Like every couple minutes, I just have that thought, just Seth, you could do so much more. So finally, I just said, okay, how much could I do? And I just had this image come in my mind of 1,000 times. I was like, what? I mean, I couldn't even comprehend the number, And so I'm sitting there in this meeting, the convention's going on, and I'm having this real spiritual enlightenment. And so I said, 1,000 diamonds. And I just said, well, how many diamonds are in doTERRA? And that voice came back and just said, go check. So I got up and left the meeting, and I walked out to the hallway of convention where they had pictures of every diamond. I went and counted them all, and doTERRA didn't even have 1,000 diamonds. I was like, what? Oh, you want me to create a team that's bigger than doTERRA?
What else are you going to be doing with your life? Come on, let's talk about it. We just built doTERRA. It's great.
Yeah, and so in that moment, I was just out there in the hallway. Everyone was in convention, out there alone. And I'm just like looking up at the ceiling going, you want me to create a team bigger than doTERRA? And the answer was just so clear. It's like, yes. But the thing that was interesting is it never felt like a commandment or an obligation. It felt like a gift. Like, if you want it, So I just kind of stood there for a while, and then I just kind of looked up at the sky, and I just said, okay, you got a deal. I'll do it.
Well, think about what doTERRA has done for you.
Yeah.
What has it done for you as a person? How have you changed?
Yeah. It's healed me in pretty much every way. I think when I came to doTERRA, I was a really bitter person, I think. In fact, when I left my company, I remember just going, I'm becoming a bad person. I was just constantly wanting to get even with people who had done me wrong and all that. And so when I went from like this really corporate environment, normally meeting with a lot of bankers and things like that, to sitting at a kitchen table with a group of mothers most of the time, teaching them how to put oil on an alley. Like, there's no guile there. There's no one's trying to trick the other person. No one's posturing for power. It's a mom that wants to take care of her kids. And so you do that enough, it heals you. You start to believe in humanity again. And so for me, coming from, like, I'm a really weird story in doTERRA because I'm a guy.
Right.
My wife didn't start
really
it.
Build
no, she doesn't.
You're the builder. And so you're teaching
from the
classes.
beginning.
You're teaching classes. You're recruiting people. It's you. It's on you.
Yeah. Like most people most men in doTERRA, their wife did it. The husband thought it was stupid. And the wife starts making more than the husband, and the husband joins her and takes credit.
Right.
And so, so for me, it was the exact opposite. Like, I just saw it, and part of me was like, I want something so opposite, so in the opposite direction to what I've been doing. So to me, it really appealed to me to not work with a bunch of businessmen. Like, I wanted to work around nurturers because my spirit needed nurturing.
Wow.
And so when I went around and worked with them, like seeing all that happen, it changes you over time. Like, I started seeing good in people. I actually had the ability to believe in people again. I used to actually just think, I assumed everyone was going to screw you if they had a chance. There's all these different things my baggage.
That's called the geranium story.
Yeah.
Anyway, for real. Go use geranium. But it is this mistrust that people are inherently bad, and eventually you're going to get.
Right. Yeah. And the thing that's interesting about building a doTERRA business is that whatever crap you have in your life, doTERRA doesn't make the crap come up. It forces you to deal with it. And life would have made you deal with it over a period of 50, 60 years.
This accelerates it.
But it accelerates it because you can't move forward until you deal with it. And,
Funny story.
and so you're letting go of all this stuff. Like that's decision number 3. You're letting go. And so you say like, well, it's done for me. I mean, I don't even know how to comprehend that. I mean, on the other hand, how about this? Waking up every morning and not worrying about money, not having money be the motivation of your life. Life has a special kind of meaning when money no longer becomes the motivation of the thing that decides where you go, what you eat, where you live, how you live. No, that's not the determining factor. What determines your life is your choices and what you decide to do with your life. And that's it. Not any of the limitations you put on yourself. That's what happens when you reach these types of ranks. And so it's like, I mean, so you could go through the financial rewards, amazing. I've owned other companies, multi-million-dollar companies, and none of them have done for me what doTERRA does.
Wow.
You know, so I don't think there's a better opportunity for all the dudes out there that are wondering, is doTERRA as great as everything? No, it's better. It's better than you think. It's better than anything you're doing.
Okay, let's talk, because we've talked so much about the amazing stuff, right?
Yeah.
I think what we really have
Should we
to
talk about the crappy stuff?
Yeah. What I think is we have to tell people how you actually close the gap, right? Because we're on this end, we've gone through the trenches. How many classes have you taught? Like hundreds, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't even count. I mean, I think what people that are coming into doTERRA now, they see us where we are, and they think, oh, I just teach a couple of classes, and if they don't work, oh well. Like
the answer is you teach however many you need.
Yeah.
Stop counting the cost. People who count costs don't make it in doTERRA. You come in, you're like, well, I'm going to do this, and then if it gives me this, it's like, no, yeah, right. It doesn't work that way. Like, well, if I teach this many people, then will I get this? It's like, no, teach as many as you need until you get this. It doesn't matter. Like, it could be 3, it could be 300. But it doesn't matter. Like so many people are kind of always counting exact. But if the accounting makes sense, don't worry about the accounting. I promise. This is what I can promise. In your journey to Diamond and beyond, you're going to think this is much harder than I thought it would be. But once you are experiencing the rewards of it, you're going to think it should have been much harder than it was. Right? For the rewards of it, it should have been way harder. Harder.
There is a season, right?
Yeah.
Absolute. Okay. This is if you're going diamond, right? Like I was putting out a fire, I was going diamond as rapidly as I could. And so it was a season of craziness.
Yeah.
It was. But I did it until it was done. It wasn't like, well, maybe I'll talk to 5 builders and then get my bill. It was like, I did it till I was done. So you're right. Like I think my first month I called 36 people to recruit business partners. And is that what you did? Did you start your business by recruiting business partners?
Well,
or did you go out, share 100 samples?
I didn't sample. I did recruit business partners, but I did it with a strategy. So my strategy was the 3 doors. However, the 3 doors, I haven't invented that yet. So
what are the 3 doors for those who don't
really?
know? Well, some of them don't.
Do you know?
I used to. Tell me again.
So the 3 doors are they open to learn about it?
Oh yeah.
Are they open to use the oils? So normally, and that came with time. That came that understanding came over time. So
yes. The nuggets there, peeps, right?
So and that's just a way to approach your network. First, ask the network if they're open to learn about oils, and then of those people, some of them are going to be open to use the oils and enroll. And then of those people, some of them are going to be open to sharing with others. And so I filter them through those doors because even if I start with the 3rd door, the business, it has to go back to door 1 anyway. Now there are some people though that their life circumstances are such that you actually should start with door 3 with them because they need the opportunity. That's like in your case.
She led with the business because I was in a fire.
And you needed that.
Yes.
Like that was that door 3 was wide open. See, what the 3 doors represent is the openness of the mind of the person you're approaching. And so most people's door 3 is closed because they don't want to talk about network marketing or a business opportunity or something like that. In your case, Door 3 was wide open. The energy you put off, everything about you was saying, I need something. And so they could lead with the door 3 and it could resonate with you because that's what you needed. And then, but it still had to go back to the oils and things like that. But yeah, there were certain people that I called up. I remember, even like the people who committed to build a business, like my sister, Heidi. She was the first person I called, and the first person, she and I went diamond on the same day. And when I called Heidi, I was like, hey, I said, what do you know about essential oils? And she goes, well, I'm in Young Living. I've been using them for a while. I'm like, really? I didn't know that. And so, had she learned about oils? Yes. Was she using them? Yes. So then I went straight to 3. And I was just like, well, I'm going to be building a doTERRA business. And I was wondering if you'd want to be a partner with me. I mean, it was pretty clear, So I think getting your leadership in place and being really bold, especially with the people that you want to work with. And for that, I always ask myself, who do I want to raise my kids around for the rest of my life? And that's how
I want to travel with. Yeah, that's a really great question. Now, before you talk to people, let's go back to that commitment level. Had you already committed mentally that you were going to go diamond before you talked to Heidi?
Yeah.
Okay,
I was committed to diamond from the beginning.
Committed to diamond from the beginning. So if I'm going to do this, I'm going to choose big. I'm going to go diamond. And so that conversation isn't if I go or not. It's I'm going. Do you want to come with me?
Absolutely. So I have 10 principles that can builders, which would be a whole other call. I'm happy to share them with you.
Share them with us. Yeah, we'd love it.
Yeah. So the first one is you have to have vision. You have to know where you're going. Imagine that you're on a boat. You're a captain of a ship. You need a crew. And you pull the boat up to the dock and you tell someone, get on the boat. What's the first thing they want to know?
Where are we going?
Where are we going?
Yeah.
If you don't know where you're going, no one will join your crew. No one will. No one will even step on the boat if you are uncertain about the destination. So that's the first thing. You have to be certain about it. The second thing is that I always teach a principle called who has the cookie? And it's like, where's the posture in this? Am I offering them a cookie, the best cookie in the world? Or is the posture that they are holding the cookie and I'm coming to them asking them, okay, can I have a cookie? Apologetic, as if they have something to offer you. That's not what's happening here. You're the captain of the boat. You know the destination. You're the one offering them an amazing gift if they join. They are not offering you a gift if they join you. You're offering them a gift. You just see what I mean?
Absolutely.
So the posture thing's massive. If you don't have that, then they won't do it. And then the other thing is a total understanding that while you do need people to follow you, you do not need any one person in particular. So of course we need people to follow us, but it doesn't have to be them. It doesn't have to be the person you're talking to. And they need to know that too. And so the fourth principle is you're going to get there with or without them. Hopefully with them, but that doesn't determine the eventuality, the fact that it's going to happen. So those are just 4, but it kind of gives you an idea that like it's all about the posture and the way you are viewing your journey. And if there's any hesitation in there, it crumbles so fast. And so when people go, man, I have a hard time finding a builder. My problem is everyone I enroll wants to build. And so
that's a good problem.
Right. And then you go, well, what do I do with all these people that want to build? So for me, I'm just going to enroll a lot of people. I'm like, well, that's a big commitment,
right?
For me anyway. And but again, why is that?
Your posturing, it's your confidence, it's everything, right? And fortunately, I was taught the same thing by another network marketing company that I dabbled in. And one of the girls, before I started to try my hand on it, she said, you do not call a single person unless you're 100% in. Because if you do, and you're wishy-washy, and you move forward with that wishy-washy energy, they're not going to feel comfortable making decisions around you. And it's absolutely true, right? So I think doing that homework, you guys, is you're looking at where you are in your business and where you really want to be. You got to do that. You've got to get clear on what is my destination. Is it elite? Right? Is it silver? Is it gold? Is it platinum? And no matter what it is, I mean, we're talking diamond just because that's where we wanted to play from the beginning. I tell people, you pick your business plan. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be mine. It's yours. That's the beauty of doTERRA. Your $35 membership, gives you whatever business plan you want. I just say, know that you're choosing an experience. And so as you're thinking about that, and going back even to what you were saying with the income, when I wrote on my vision board, this is what I wrote, $30,000. I actually wrote a couple of cool things. So I'm big into vision boarding, and I'm big into writing your next chapter really deliberately and putting it in first person. And I'm going to do some trainings on it, so I can let your team know when I'm going to do that. But I do it probably twice a year. I just write that chapter. Do you do that as well? Have you ever done that? So fun. So I wrote this chapter, and so get really clear on who I wanted to be, what I wanted to do, what I wanted to have, and what I'm willing to give for that. So what is the price of that? And so I wrote it all out. I wrote the type of person I wanted to be. That's why writing the adjectives, I'm confident, supported, inspired, is huge. Even if you don't feel like that, you've got to start saying those I am statements and start to believe it, and your life will adjust. I started to write what I wanted to do. And I wrote what I dreamt of doing in my life, my legacy, right? And what I wanted to have. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to partner in my life with powerful, influential, inspiring people who wanted to be agents of positive change, and together we would teach the masses. And I read that morning and night. And the miracle of that is when I talked to people, it wasn't like, well, you do the businesses. Hey, I believe you're powerful, influential, and inspiring. Do you want to be an agent of positive change? Because we're going to teach you how to heal. And so because I was so clear on what I was creating, cool people showed up. And not just people on my team, but people like Seth Risenmay showed up in my life to help us support each other as we built our business together. And I will tell you something really interesting. So I get to go to convention and leadership, and we're going to wrap up really fast, but I get people coming up to me all the time because our journey began with that class. You know, you and I, we sat down and we said, doTERRA doesn't have a class, let's go ahead and make one. I had written that I wanted to be an agent of positive change and teach the masses. And I did not know how that would transpire. But that was my prayer. I was like, Heavenly Father, I want to make an impact, and significance is in my top 5. So I was like, I want to go big. And so doTERRA just asked me to teach that. I wasn't leaking that onto YouTube. They asked, someone else leaked it. It became the class that trained like everyone. And at convention, people come up to me all the time. You're Kalli Wilson, you taught that class. Like, I've had people with tears in their eyes saying, I was in China. I had nothing else but your video to go on. And every time that they tell me that, I have this moment of reflection, and it goes back to me reading that line on my statement, saying, thank you for answering that prayer. Like, gratitude, rather than being jealous, like, well, sometimes I'm like, dang it, I wish I had all these diamonds on my team. Like, I have this moment of gratitude, like, wow, what I wrote transpired in the most beautiful way. That was not forced. That wasn't me trying to make it work. It just happened. So that was really cool. So if anything, I challenge you to get so clear on that next chapter. Who do you want to be? Write it down. What do you want to do? What do you want to have? What are you willing to sacrifice? And in that give part, I said, I will show up daily and pay the success tax. I will show up daily and do what it takes in order for this new chapter to come true. And that is what the doTERRA journey allowed me to do, was to see that to completion, and everything came true.
I think, care if I leave a closing
No,
thought on this?
please.
So one thing that you've heard us talk about a lot is the importance of rank, and rank is important. It's a somewhat of an indicator of the level of leadership that you've exhibited, and it also is a way to have some sort of benchmark to let you know how you're doing. However, rank is one way that doTERRA leads. It's not the way. You know, my rank bonus is nothing compared to my unilevel bonus, for example. But we put a lot of emphasis on rank. And so this is going to sound a little maybe awkward because we've been talking about it so much, but I want to encourage everyone. Rank also has the potential of robbing you of the joy of the business. because you're so focused on rank that you forget the healing that's taking place in you and the network that you're creating. And so rank depends upon the people in your life that you are the enroller of, it being the right time in their life, in your life, for everything to magically happen in a way that the timings are right in everybody's life. And sometimes you just cannot control that. But what you can and do have control over is the size of your network. And so my challenge is to be more patient with your teams and your leaders that you've chosen and that they've chosen, that you've both chosen to work together with. And to relieve the pressure that you're putting on them by having them be a particular rank so you can reach your goals. By building their networks, getting in and teaching as many classes as you can inside of the networks that already exist. And like when Kalli asked how many classes have I taught, the fact of the matter is that I created a names list when I got started of about 200 names, and I never did get through the list. But what happened was that when I found people who wanted to do the same, I went and I taught their classes and their classes. Anybody classes that was willing to have me come teach, I'd go teach it. And that willingness has taken me, frankly, around the world. And
it has changed you.
Yeah. And it's changed me, and it's built massive networks. And so sometimes you look at rank and you think, man, and it's like, yes, the rank will come. I promise the rank will happen. I'm not overly concerned about Presidential Diamond, the rank. I'm more concerned with building a Presidential Diamond organization than I am about hitting a rank. Because if I hit the rank but I haven't created the organization, then I've just created myself a job. And so I hope this is making sense. What I'm saying is that if you feel like you've lost the joy of building the business, then stop focusing so much on rank and start focusing on building a massive network of people using oils and finding healing in your life. And if you do that, then you'll start to reconnect with the joy that is the business. Like if any of the business is a drudgery to you, it's because you're doing it wrong. Because if you do it right, it's one of the most joy-filled things there is. It's one of the most amazing experiences to see the miraculous. I mean, in my case.
No, I have to laugh because
in my time in doTERRA, and I bet yours too, I have seen people who couldn't walk that now walk. I've seen people that should have died that are still alive. I've seen people who couldn't hear that now hear. I've seen people who lost their sight that can now see. I've seen people who had horrible allergies and couldn't live a happy life that now can. I have people who had IBS that could never leave their house and have a social life, but now can. I mean, like you build a network, you want to see what happens when you build a network and the massive amount of healing that takes place in the world. Get out of, like, sometimes we think so much about the rank, we focus on the same people who are still not doing the same things that you wish that they would do. And it doesn't matter, just go beyond them, build a team. And I promise the people who are in the right spots, they'll wake up. And eventually it'll be the right time for them because you've given them a reason for it to be the right time. And so anyway,
you just keep moving.
Keep moving. Don't get so caught up on that.
Going back, right? Lead from the front line. And I will share one fast, funny story about that because I had a moment a few months ago where I was like, okay, I'm quitting. I am going to retire and take a break because I cannot handle the home build and my kids and building, and I just need a break. Like, I declared it openly. Like, I'm done. I'll be back in like 6 months, guys. It'll be fine. My unit level is great. It keeps growing. It's fine. So that night, I decide, out of the blue, I'm at football practice with my kids. We're watching fried green tomatoes in our van. And my son goes, can we have fried chicken? I'm like, we don't really eat fried chicken that much, but okay, fine. We'll go to, I haven't been to Kentucky Fried Chicken in a long time. So I'm like, all right, let's go have a Southern meal because we just watched fried green tomatoes. So I'm sitting there, and this really friendly guy walks in, and he has this thick Southern accent. And he starts talking to us, and I'm like, oh, we lived in Georgia. He's like, I'm from Mississippi. I'm driving through, la, la, la. And then he starts to talk about what I do, and I'm like, oh, I kind of do oils, but I'm kind of quitting. So not right now, not today. We're not talking about oils today. I'm not talking about oils today. So he's sitting there and he starts to tell me about some of the things he's been struggling with. He was a gymnast, and he's overweight now, and he has bad health, and he has chronic pain, and this little voice is like, seriously, not going to tell him. You're going to sit there and you're just not going to tell him. And I'm like fighting, like, oh, no, because doTERRA is hard right now. I don't want to do this. And it was so funny because by the end, he had followed me home. I had hooked him up with his family physician kit. He enrolled, and he left my home at 2 a.m. in the morning with my husband and I, sending him off with love and 10 referrals, right? So I just have to laugh because then it was like, I guess this is fun, you know. And I think the biggest thing is that's where we're not in alignment. That's where we got to shift back and go, well, what is the fun? Get back to the joy.
But don't you think that the thing that causes all the lack of fun is the
Pressure.
focus on rank?
Yes. And
like, because if you're focused so much on rank, all you're looking at is the areas of your business that aren't performing.
Yeah.
Instead of just looking at all the amazing healing that's taking place where it is performing.
Yeah.
And so, you know,
go have fun.
Go have fun with it.
Use your wild orange. Use your lime. Seth, out of Seth's words, those are the fun oils. Put some geranium and ylang-ylang on your heart, and you guys step out and start leading from the front. Get over your excuses by figuring out how. Just go focus on the how every single day and have fun. Thanks everybody for joining us. We love you guys. We'll be back later. Bye.